If you saw the title that I decided to kind of give game or kind of launch it off is, how to deal with negative news. I thought that'd be a cool topic. Being that I got some negative news today myself. For the past little, and I'll just give it as, the past little, well, maybe 2 years now, I've been working as like as for a software company, and as a business sales rep, been business sales, as one of the analysts there. It's been cool. We've been crushing it. And funny enough, what had happened was that the company, because they kind of had a falling out with a merger that they were doing with another company, decided that in this quarter they're deciding to downsize. And when I mean downsize, I mean they removed 11% of their staff worldwide. They let go of like 200, 300 people. And I'm just like, funny. And the thing is, it may look like, yo, this just happened to me, that's why I'm here. But it literally, I said, like, it just happened, just so happened in line with the time where I decided that, I'm gonna try and do something positive or something, that kind of helps more people and kind of just dealing with their everyday stuff. I'm literally setting up, my stream setup and all these different things, and trying to create a schedule where if I'm not working, I'm trying to create better situations for content and whatever the case may be. And boom, as I'm throughout the workday, they set up a situation. They let me know I see a meeting on my calendar. What's the meeting? Everybody's freaking out. It's a 15-minute with one of like the director of sales who's in Arizona. He's not even where I live. He's in a different country. 15 minutes. There's 15 of us. They say they're letting us go. We have a severance package. I'm just like, huh? What do you mean? I find out later that it's like the whole friggin' business team is being let go, right? They're just being let go. It's as crazy as that seems, So, people are freaking out. People are tripping out. I'm kind of dealing with it. I'm kind of processing it. And I'm like, you know what? Like, this is pretty interesting because this is real time, something that I'm sure a lot of people go through, big or small, where you may have a plan and what happens is that all of a sudden the plan changes, or different circumstances hit you. It could be a negative circumstance of friendships. It could be a negative circumstance of relationships. It could be a negative circumstance of a sickness, of health, or just like me, it could be a circumstance where you find out that your company is downsizing. And the funny thing is, I said it, like, me and another colleague, we were actually one of the top performing. We were one of the top performing people getting it done on the business team for this tech company, like, for last quarter. That's the sad part, right? And I know not just me, but I know great people who are like killing it when it comes to getting things done. Like, we were making sure that the software was with any big client. Doesn't matter the name. We were with them, right? And it's I'm seeing people react and go through it as they should. And I thought about it, like, why is it like that when something happens to us or we receive negative news, it's it kind of causes such a disruption. Like, I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not, and mind you, like, I'm not gonna hit y'all with some this is psychoanalysis, or I don't know them fancy words. I'm just gonna say how I feel it. As I was saying, I was really trying to take my time and deep it, like, yo, why is it that when there's a sudden entrance of negative news, it's like our first instinct is to shut down. It's like, it's so easy. And I'm not like saying you're like, oh, you need to be happy go lucky, but like, why? Like, why is that? And in studying myself, the thing I found is that, like, it's not the negative news per se, and it's not even like the fear of loss. For me, I feel, and what I saw, especially today, I feel like it's like the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of what like, when you have something so structured, and we human beings, I feel like we are creatures of structure. Like, we like where, if it's a shift, we know when our shift starts, when our shift ends. If it's our school, we know when school starts, we know when school ends. If it's whatever, like what if it's a girl, we know when our girl's gonna call us or our partner's gonna call us. We know we like to know regular. Like once things become regular, it becomes accepted. And the fear of the unknown sometimes makes you feel like if there's if you don't know what's next, it's bound to be negative. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know what's gonna happen next and you can't necessarily control, not even control it, but you don't have a picture of what's gonna happen next, then it's bound to be negative. And I'm like, why does that what's the word, dichotomy, big words, I'm about to say G, big brothel or big English. It's a dichotomy where if you don't know what's happening next, you feel like it has to be negative, right? And I think that like it's not necessarily, you know, about the not knowing what's next that kills you. It's the assumption that it's going to be negative that kills you, that makes you want to crash, that makes you want to, close down. And don't get me wrong, there are times where, maybe like not closing down, but just temporarily, taking a step back is positive because it helps you kind of realign. But shutting down, I feel like is a crippling, right? It's a crippling. It's a crippling of belief. It's a crippling of hope. It's a crippling of just like happiness. And I feel like if there's a crippling of happiness, it's the only thing left is darkness. Like the thing I keep saying when it comes to PYM is that we're not focused on trying to say, happy go rah, hey, you need to be this. I'm not trying to be no motivational speaker at the end of the day, but I feel like if you don't do your best to guard from the darkness, there's no chance for light. You know what I mean? Now, so it's like if you do crumble, back to like dealing with negative news, if you do crumble, if you do let the thing consume you, there's no chance for light. And light in this situation is not necessarily like a positive feeling, or light is just an opportunity to attack something from a additional or something that will bring benefit or value or add to the circumstance. You know what I mean? So if you crumble, I feel like you've lost before you even started. And crumbling, the downside of crumbling is not necessarily even the emotional, it's the time. It's so easy to be down. And the sad part of it is when you're down, nobody, like, unless you have like maybe your very intimate circle, like nobody's really trying to pick you up when you're down, bro. Like, it's just the truth of the matter. Because at the end of the day, to try and pick you up when you're down means I have to stop standing up and then pick you up. Right? Unless I care about you, I'm not doing that, and most people won't. So if you get yourself getting knocked down, you can end up staying there until you realize that, bro, if I don't get my damn self up, it's up for me, right? So crumbling when you receive negative news is like the hardest outcome to deal with. But again, that crumbling comes from allowing the fear of the unknown to overwhelm you. Right. So again, I'm dealing with negative news. Back to the story, right? I'm dealing with negative news. I'm figuring out, I have these expenses. I have this coming up. I have, so many things going on in my personal life. I have a save, whatever the case may be. And I'm trying to strategize. The funny thing is that in dealing with the negative news, I found that like the best thing I could do is just keep it in my head. When you receive negative news, bro, the best thing you can do is keep it in your head. Now, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, if it's only, terrible, oh my gosh, it's all over, it's not for me, my life is ruined, whatever the case may be. It's better to keep it in your head. Like, why it's better to, I feel it's better to keep it in your head than release it into like the world, bro. Because I feel like our words, they have a funny way of actually happening, and we will talk about it on a regular basis here at PYM Live. Is that, words have power at the end of the day. They do. Whether you choose to accept it or not, they do. They have power. So in a negative situation, if the only thing that's in your mind are negative thoughts, the best thing you can do is keep it in your mind. Now, I'm not saying let it sit there and waddle, but it's like, if it's going to be processed, process it internally. But when you process it internally, and it still needs to be released. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But all I'm saying is, first steps I feel when it comes to dealing with negative news is let it stay in your mind. Let it stay as a thought. Don't let it become a sentence. Don't let it become a whole rant. Don't let it become a whole spiel. Because one, pity loves company, and two, haters love material. You know what I mean? So why give them material? Why give them the energy? People say they don't have friends or they don't have supporters. You know you have haters. That's at the end of the day. So why give thoughts? Even if they're not around you, don't give people the chance, or the negative energy, bad vibes, the chance to, add to negative news. You know what I mean? But at the same time too, they do need to be released. But release them to people who are confident. You know what I'm saying? Release them to people who care about you. Like, they tested and you're sure that they can care about it. And at the same time too, release them to people who can guard you, who can guard your state. Guard your state of dealing with negative news. The world is savage, bro. You cannot afford to give you being in a negative state to everybody, because not a lot of people will actually, beyond just give you sympathy, will actually give you support. You know what I mean? Sympathy is easy. Support is way hard. So one, deal with it internally. But then when you deal with it internally, find a confidant to share it. And beyond that, it's how you share it. You know what I mean? When I mean share it, I don't mean, oh my God, woe is me, da 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 da. Woe is me sounds nice and all, but doesn't really change with the situation. Now, you can be in grief. You can process. You can share. You can cry if you need to cry. Charlie, me, I've cried tears when I needed to cry. You know what I'm saying? I've cried, I've wailed, because it helps me just like, ah. And I know they shot in someone's ear. But it's that you deal with it like, yo, this thing is affecting me negatively. This thing is weighing me down. This thing is making me feel like this. And it's not for the person to not necessarily for the person to do something, but it's just to have an outlet. For me personally, my best outlet is myself, bro. I like to, if I'm dealing with something negative, I like to go on a walk and I'll just talk to myself. And PYM Militia, as I call us, one thing you're going to learn about me is that I'm a heavy proponent of talk to yourself. Let them call you crazy. Talk to your damn self. Because you are your best listener. You're your best conversationalist. You're your best audience. Nobody wants to hear your voice more than you. That's just facts. But anyway, share that. Share that. Release that. Share what it is that you're feeling. Don't share, but share the feeling. Don't share the future. You know what I mean? Like, don't share the future you have in your mind. Like, share the feeling of, I am sad. Don't share that everything is dead or everything is done, because you're talking in absolutes. And what does talking in absolutes do for dealing with the situation at the end of the day? If a negative situation is happening, I don't believe in false positivity. Don't get me wrong. I believe that you got to deal with the negative emotions. But I also don't believe that talking in absolutes because of a negative feeling helps anything. If you're emotional, deal with the emotion before you speak, because talking from emotional place actually never does anything proper. Whether it's anger, sorrow, grief, misery, whatever. If you talk from a place of emotion, it's up. So share the feeling. Describe the feeling with that confidant. Yo, this thing just happened. Yo, my team just downsized. Yo, our company just let me go. I feel like this and I feel like that. I really feel down. This is what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through it, but I'm sharing that. And then I leave it there. Share it. If you gotta cry, just cry. Don't, share the feeling. Don't share the future. So I said number one, I'm gonna recap as we go through it, right? If it's negative thoughts, try to keep it in your head and process it in your head. Speak less when you're going through tribulation. You know what I mean? Speak less when you're going through something. Two, you need to share with the confidant. But share with someone who you know you can trust. Share if someone has your best interest. And at the same time, share the feeling. Don't share the future of the feeling. Just share the feeling. Three, as I wrap up, when dealing with negative news, and I'm gonna try to be like as succinct. I'm a rambler, guys, but I'm gonna try. I said if I'm a ranter, if you can pick up something from the rant, great. When dealing with negative news, as crazy as it seems, keep a mindset of getting back towards positive. I'm not saying it happens overnight. That's denial. I'm not saying it happens, you need to be happy-go-lucky. No. But it's that if you, when receiving negative news, can actually keep it in the back of your forehead. You know what I mean? I got a big head. If you can keep it in the back of your forehead, that as I go through this negative news, I have to get back to a positive place. You know what it does? It sets a timeline. It gives it like a timeline and expiration date, if that makes sense. Of, yo, it's a negative situation and it's a negative circumstance, but I gotta get to a place of positive. And I'm not saying it needs to be a week. You know, sometimes it can be something so tragic. It can be grief. It could be death. You can be dealing with the loss of a family member. You could be dealing with a serious medical condition. You could be dealing with, some serious financial trauma, or some serious anxiety, or whatever the case may be. Is that even if you have to write it down, find a situation or a way where you can just say, I'm going through it right now, but I gotta get to a place of positive. And if I can get to this, if I can get to that place of positive, that means the negative has to end. Because, bro, at the end of the day, negative news are I feel like negative news have to come, because if everything was positive, then you're living in a fairy tale. There's ups and there's downs, right? And I feel like you learn more. I'm not gonna tell anybody, but I feel like me personally, I learn more through the downs sometimes than the ups. Now I don't say it to try and be lucky as me. It sucks, bro. It really does suck. But I will learn through it. At the end of the day, this thing can't kill me. You know what I mean? It's just negative news. If someone is dealing with negative news right now, if someone is going through a negative circumstance right now, I'm not gonna give you the cliche that it will get better. You've heard that a million times. All I'm gonna say is that in dealing with negative news, look at the processes within and ask yourself, in dealing with this negative news, is this the me I want to see for as a permanent me, or is this just a temporary me? Is this just me dealing with it? And if you can really accept in your mind that this is just a temporary state of you, then that means it has to have an expiration date, right? It has to, it just has to. So that's a little bit about what I had on my mind today. Make sure you subscribe. That's what I hear them say. Subscribe. So we talk say subscribe. I wish you perfect health. I wish you perfect wealth, perfect love, and perfect self-expression in all that you do. And above all else, that your mind is secure and it's in great shape every single day. It's been fun. I appreciate you for watching. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah. Have a good night. I will be back on Sunday. All right. Take care. Peace.